San Francisco, Super Bowl Sunday. The city comes to a standstill as fans gather around the television to watch as their hometown 49ers take on the budding dynasty of Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in Las Vegas.
3, 2, 1.
The San Francisco Bay is a sports town, home of 8 professional sports teams. It's not uncommon to see a turnout of support for a championship event. But while all of San Francisco's eyes are focused on football, there is one sport just opposite the bay from its famous bridge that will soon cease to exist in the Golden City: horse racing. One of the oldest sports in the United States, San Franciscans crammed the grandstands long before the stadiums of the 49ers, Giants, and Warriors. Pioneer Racetrack opened its doors in 1851, bringing organized horse racing to San Francisco in an age of prosperity during the booming gold rush. For those looking to show off their new wealth, horse racing was a great way to do so. However, the track would last only a decade. But the enjoyment of racing was not lost as several tracks began sprouting towards the end of the century. Bay District Racing Track, opened in 1873, focused primarily on harness racing, but ran a race with a $25,000 purse just 2 months after opening, a purse unprecedented in America. But the track found difficulty staying afloat as a growing San Francisco demanded land for housing and was soon paving residential streets through the infield not long after its closing in 1896. It was then that a new era of racing, according to the San Francisco Call, began with the opening of Ingleside Racetrack in 1895. Its early success was muffled quickly as anti-gambling laws shut it down for a few years, and although it returned to racing horses in 1901, it limped to the finish line until the 1906 San Francisco earthquake shuttered the track for good. This type of opening and closing of tracks was not unheard of across the United States. In fact, it was pretty common. But the difference between then and now is that when one track failed and closed, there usually was another right behind it to try and achieve a better fate. The tracks that have survived to this day since the 1800s are few and far between, but is a testament to their ability to adjust with the times. Horse racing saw a renaissance across the country in the first half of the 1900s, which led to the more established tracks with longer meetings that would survive for years to come. Anti-gambling laws in California were repealed in 1933, and the horse industry began to thrive with San Francisco hosting Tanforan Racetrack, which saw greats like Farlap, Seabiscuit, and Citation grace the oval. Meanwhile, the South began to see the likes of Santa Anita, Del Mar, and Hollywood Park. However, Tanforan would struggle after the end of World War II and essentially turned the Bay Area's racing scene over to 2 tracks: Bay Meadows, which opened in 1933, and Golden Gate Fields, opening in 1941. The fact that Golden Gate survived after its first year is quite incredible, considering it was converted into a naval landing force equipment depot at the outbreak of World War II. Yet when the war ended, Golden Gate resumed racing and featured a battle of titans between Citation and Knorr in the 1950 Golden Gate Handicap. Other famous horses that called the oval home were the legendary Silky Sullivan and Superb Lost in the Fog. Bay Meadows and Golden Gate anchored horse racing in Northern California, and both were very popular destinations for horse racing fans. When the big tracks were closed, fair circuit racetracks would provide racing for the area, providing a fantastic market for small-time breeders, owners, and trainers who could not compete with the top-level horses being drawn to the southern tracks. But since the dawn of the 2000s, Northern California began its downward trend. Golden Gate has 2 racetracks, a synthetic 1-mile main track and a 7-furlong turf course. The reason for the synthetic track was due to a 2006 California Horse Racing Board mandate that all major dirt tracks in California switch to a synthetic surface. Bay Meadows could not afford those costs to make the change and closed in 2008, leaving Golden Gate Fields on its own. For those in the sport of horse racing, you have to commit your life to it. It's a 24/7 job. Horses need constant daily care, and many backstretch workers live directly on the track themselves. It's a passion that often grows from an early age.
Hi, my name's Kevin Orozco, and I've been a jockey here for 8 years now. This is where I kind of got started, kind of got going. I'm originally from Southern California. I was born and raised in the LA area, so I kind of grew up Santa Anita, Del Mar. My grandparents worked in the backside for around 40 years. As a kid, I used to go and visit them and spend the summer down in Del Mar, and that's kind of where I kind of fell in love with the sport. And ever since I was a little kid, this is what I've been wanting to do.
Well, my name is Leonel Camacho Flores. I've been a jockey for 12 years. When I first came from Mexico, my brother, he already was working in this racetrack here in Golden Gate, and he was grooming for some of the trainers. He brought me here actually from Mexico, and I groomed for three years, and then I started gallop, exercise rider for 3 years also. Then I like this, so I decided to become a jockey.
My name is Frank Alvarado. I've been riding in Golden Gate for 24 years. I started riding in Panama. My father is a trainer, my brother is a jockey, and my uncle, he was a jockey too. It's in the blood. In 2000, I find a good agent. He tell me, you want to try in Northern California? And I tell him, yes, why not? And I'm still here.
Golden Gate Fields is easily one of the most beautiful tracks in the country. The track itself is located in Albany, California, but it sits right on the city line with Berkeley. In fact, so close that the barn area is technically in Berkeley. Golden Gate sits right on the San Francisco Bay. Both the city skyline and Golden Gate Bridge are easily visible from the parking lot, and even the restrooms. Once you're in the grandstand, the track sits in the footprint of the Berkeley Hills.
I like the Bay area. I like the horses, good trainer. This is like my hometown.
The people here are pretty amazing. The views, it's nice. It's a beautiful track. You can see the Golden Gate Bridge and the Berkeley Hills, and it's a lot of history here.
I have a lot of family here. It's Bay Area, it's a nice place. I can go visit places around here, San Francisco, San Jose, and a lot of good places to visit here.
The Bay Area has a lot of things to do. Culture drives this city. So you would think an area like this would be a successful spot to hold a racetrack, and for many years it was. However, in recent years, California racing as a whole has been suffering. Declining foal crops and declining field size have led to a concerning picture for the state. Mix this with the fact that their purses can no longer compete with some of its eastern foes. It does not paint a pretty picture of the future of racing in the state. In other states, like Kentucky and Arkansas, horse racing purses have been aided by the addition of casinos, historical racing machines, and sports betting. This strategy has led Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs, Arkansas, to become one of the highest tier winter tracks as their purses continuously increase and their racing season extends. Kentucky Downs in Franklin, Kentucky isn't even recognizable from the track it was just a decade ago, as historical racing machines have aided their purses to become one of the most lucrative meetings in the country as they grow the intrigue and attendance. California, in the meantime, has no legal wagering outside of horse racing. No casinos, sports wagering, or anything that the tracks can host on-site to aid with their purses. A purse overpayment is when the track pays more money out in purses than they generate for those purses. According to a January CHRB meeting, Golden Gate entered this year with a purse overpayment of $3 million. But it's not just in the north. Santa Anita entered with a purse overpayment of nearly $4 million, which, as reported, will likely increase to $5 million this year despite mitigating measures that included $3 million in purse cuts at the current meet. Even the successful Del Mar meetings, whose field size in the summer were among the highest in the country, resulted in a purse overpayment of $2.1 million. Yet, despite all these facts, the people in the Northern California racing industry were left in complete shock when on July 16, 2023, the Stronach Group, or First Racing, that owns Golden Gate, announced that Golden Gate would close permanently at the end of the 2023 season.
I'm on shock. I don't believe it. When the people call me, I don't believe it. I told them, no way, no way. And later on, when my wife working the racing secretariat, and she called me and said, yes, it's true. But it's really sad, this beautiful track closing, and it's a lot of people not be working, a lot of family. It's really hard for everybody.
And although the financials and current state of California racing would lead one to expect that the close was imminent, the immediacy of the closing, just 5 months after the announcement, left Northern California racing in chaos.
You could kind of see it coming, but not this soon. It was pretty shocking.
When I first heard that, I felt sad, and I still feel sad because we don't know. It seems like it's gonna be closing, and no one over here is happy about it.
Many were in disbelief. One person I spoke to said he still doesn't believe it will close, citing how Bay Meadows was supposed to close for several years before it did. But luckily, it was announced in September that the CHRB was able to convince the Stronach Group to keep Golden Gate open through its spring meet, giving the horsemen and women a chance to figure out a plan for the future. Its new closing date, June 9th, 2024. The Stronach Group cites its desire to condense racing in Southern California at Santa Anita Park, which they also own. They plan to offer relocation fees for horses moving from Northern to Southern California, although an owner I spoke to referenced the amount offered isn't enough to be persuading. Horses from Northern California are often there because they can't compete with Southern California horses. The El Camino Real Derby is one of Golden Gate's biggest races, and originally one of Bay Meadows' biggest races. It was held on February 10th, and in an 8-horse field, 3 of the competitors were from Southern California. One of them, Endlessly, who's trained by Michael McCarthy, won the race. The other 2, Tapalo, trained by John Sadler, and Guy Named Joe, trained by Doug O'Neill, finished 2nd and 3rd. The 5 horses trained by Northern California trainers all finished behind them. To help with this, Santa Anita said they would offer races with lower claiming values to help give Northern California horses an opportunity. They also suggest trying to change racing laws to allow night thoroughbred racing at Los Alamitos when the Northern Fair tracks are not open, something that hasn't been allowed so that the quarter horses and standard breds did not have to compete for wagering dollars against the more popular thoroughbreds. But even if that's the case, it would still require those that live and work in Northern California horse racing to relocate their lives. And trainers from Southern California aren't happy either. Golden Gate acts as an alternative for when there aren't races available that fit the proper class, distance, or value in Southern California, as proven by the choice made to send Endlessly to the El Camino Real Derby.
Down at Santa Anita, there was nothing really for him until the middle of March. We tried giving him a short break. Really wasn't having it. He's a feel-good type horse, and gave some thought to running him last month, but due to the weather circumstances, we just thought that waiting and running here on the synthetic would have been the right thing to do.
Say instead you trained at Churchill Downs during the summer. Within 2 hours, you have the option of sending the horse to Horseshoe Indianapolis or Belterra Park. Also within close enough distance are all the tracks in the Mid-Atlantic, Midwest, and even up north in New York, or down south in Florida, Louisiana, Oklahoma. You have options. In California, you don't.
Obviously vital to what we do in California. We're on a little bit of an island out here, and it's a wonderful outlet to send horses when there's not races that they may have at Santa Anita or timing wise, a place like this, it certainly serves its purpose. So to see it go away is sad.
The closest options would be tracks in Arizona, which is a state whose racing scenes are in an even worse state of uncertainty than California. That being said, normally when Golden Gate closes for their meets, racing remains in Northern California through the fair circuit. Tracks that are open for fairs and race maybe a week or 2 at a time. Although these tracks will still exist once Golden Gate closes, the lack of a permanent major circuit track like Golden Gate will cause many horsemen to either leave Northern California or exit the industry entirely, leaving not enough horses to sustain the fair meets.
To lose a place like this with a lot of horsemen that have spent their lives here and a lot of good people that have put a lot of money into the game here, to see them have to go away and go to other places, maybe not Southern California, it's tough. It's tough. I feel for everybody up here.
I'm 55. I feel good. I want to ride like at least 2 more years, but I go day by day right now. I don't have no intention to retire, but in one point I had to retire and do something. It's like everybody in the same boat. We waiting like a fake to maybe Golden Gate give you another year or they working with something. We're not really down. We waiting and patient.
But not everyone is able to patiently wait around. Decisions have to be made on what's next. In fact, several trainers have already began leaving. A barn area that could fit around 1,400 horses was down to about 900 while I was there. And maybe the best place to look at how Golden Gate's closure is impacting the lives of those who live and work there might not be in San Francisco, but over 2,000 miles east in Florence, Kentucky.
Hello, my name is Evan Roman. I come from California, from Golden Gate. I have 25 years and I'm from Puerto Rico. I started when I little. My dad went a lot for racetrack, so I watched the races and I liked too much. So in my 16th year, I went to the jockey school. I started riding in my career in Santa Anita. They gave me an opportunity over there. That my first year was amazing. That was a dream come true.
The year ended with 166 wins and over $5 million earned by his horses, crowning Roman the Eclipse Champion Apprentice Jockey. However, his success started to cool off in the following years, and it was time for a change.
2019, the business was a little slow, and then the trainer Jonathan Wong called me. He asked me if I want to make a move to North California. It's in Golden Gate, and then was a really good opportunity. So then I make the move to Golden Gate. It was an amazing 3 years. I keep winning races.
The move proved successful as Roman topped the jockey standings by wins 3 times and won over 160 races each year from 2021 to 2023.
That was really good for me, for my career, for the future.
However, just like everyone else, Roman was surprised by the announcement of Golden Gate's closure.
That was a surprise. Golden Gate is a good place and good people over there, very special for me. So that was a little sad, so I need to make the move to another racetrack.
Knowing he needed to find a new home, Roman decided it was the perfect time to make his dream move to Kentucky.
Well, my dream always it was to come here.
Roman shifted his tack to Turfway Park at the end of January 2024, and a week after his departure, he still led the current Golden Gate meeting in the jockey standings.
If I come more soon, it was better to meet the trainer and to get a lot of opportunity and riding here.
A lot of Kentucky's top riders at Churchill Downs in Keeneland head south in the winter, leaving a chance for Roman to start building relationships and a reputation in their absence, rather than waiting for June when Golden Gate closes.
Here, a really good place. It's a lot of horses, good money, good places. I think that Kentucky is one of the better places. Excited to be here. I like to work hard to get my business here.
And although he may have moved on to the next stage of his career, Roman will always cherish the memories from his years at Golden Gate.
Yeah, it's many things that are really special for me. The people, they bring me a lot of opportunity. They love me a lot, and the worker in the barn areas is a really good person too. Everything was very special for me.
And just like that, one of Northern California's top jockeys has moved on, while other jockeys need to consider what's next.
For my future right now, after they close here, I'm thinking doing my regular routine, go up to Seattle, ride for the summer, and then from there, I gotta play it by ear, see what's going on. If they're gonna open up somewhere around here, somewhere close, an alternate, we gotta see where everything's going first, and then make a decision from there.
Wherever I need to go, I will. If it goes and my clients decide to stay around here, follow the fairs. I just like to do what I love, and I will follow. If they want to go to the end of the road, then I go with them.
But jockeys have it a little easier than other backstretch workers when it comes to moving. Since so many workers live on the track, they will have to attempt to find jobs somewhere else, whether in racing or not. And to make it worse, racing in the bordering states are not on much stabler ground.
They don't know what to do. Everybody in the same boat, just waiting to the official done.
I just feel bad for the people that have been living here and have homes here, and that they're going to have to make a decision. Some people, they will follow the industry, but I've heard some people that if nothing happens or they have to move too far, they're just going to find something new to do and, get a job somewhere else, try to provide for themselves.
At the January CHRB meeting, A litany of industry stakeholders showed up to voice their opinions on the state of Northern California racing, and many stated they will not go to Southern California, being more likely to drop out entirely. However, a bit of hope was given at the meeting, as those who want to save Northern California racing are attempting to come up with plans to make it work. One such plan includes Cal Expo in Sacramento, moving the harness racing held there to an inside track, allowing the outside racetrack to be used for thoroughbred racing for more dates of the year. Upgrades to the facility would need to be added, but the plan might prove costly and require plenty of government intervention. The plan that people I talked to seemed most hopeful about is that Pleasanton, a track about 30 miles away, which usually only races when June turns into July, will be able to extend and accommodate Golden Gate's race days. Another CHRB meeting in March will likely help to start solving the answers to these questions, for the better or for the worse.
I've been hearing a few good things about Pleasanton, that that's going to be the main place up here for Northern California racing, and I guess Sacramento, they were trying to add some stuff to it to make it another main circuit. It's just hard to say right now, you just hear things, but nothing's for sure, and hopefully everything works itself out and people have somewhere to go and jobs and work.
If we get the races going at Pleasanton and the fair, we love this job, and every one of us love this job. So we want to go ahead and keep doing what we love to do, and this looks promising.
I heard in Pleasanton, but honestly, I don't know. I hope it's Pleasanton. It's my hometown. I live 5 minutes from Pleasanton, but for sure, I don't think so. Nobody know, honestly.
However, there was also the feeling among those I spoke to that Golden Gate was intentionally made to fail. From what I was told, advertising for years had not been executed properly to get attendance or wagering dollars, making it look like no one wanted to participate. In fact, several Lyft drivers and random people at my hotel that I spoke to said, "I thought they were closed," when I mentioned attending Golden Gate. And this is not the fault of the track's management. In fact, the leadership of the track received some praise for the changes they were trying to make, like the creation of the winner's circle a few years ago, and the planned lowering of the paddock roof to make the track more visible. Some people wanted to point the finger up above at the Stronach Group, who, as we mentioned, also owns Santa Anita. The thing that struck me as odd while I was there was that Santa Anita's races played on the infield screen at Golden Gate. I can't say for certain, but I don't think that goes the other way around. You could also tell what they want when you open Golden Gate's program. The first track listed is Santa Anita, and then eventually you'll turn to the racetrack you're actually physically watching from after a few pages. So other than cutting expenses, what's the benefit to close Golden Gate? Like many things, it comes down to money and politics. With Golden Gate's closure and the image that Northern California is failing, the hope for Southern California would be that the CHRB will take purse money awarded to the North and give it to them. Despite saying that Golden Gate was clearly headed for destruction, there was no attempt to cut purses at the track in order to help with the overpayment until after the closing announcement was made. It might not have helped, but you would think that would be a logical step to take to try to turn the ship around before you ended up having to close. On top of this, Santa Anita is waiting to announce purse cuts for the remainder of their year so they can see whether or not they're going to receive some of the northern money. And despite this financial state, the Stronach Group in January announced the creation of the California Crown, a racing event to mirror the events surrounding the $3 million Pegasus World Cup at Gulfstream Park in Florida, which is also owned by the Stronach Group. Is this a political tactic to help encourage the rushed end to Northern California racing? We'll have to wait and see. Many like to say horse racing is dead in the United States, and that fact is not true when you look at Kentucky or Arkansas, but it is heading that way in California. The closing of Golden Gate will serve as a critical turning point for the state. Will the North survive without Golden Gate? And if it doesn't, will the South survive without the North? The only thing we can say for certain now is that Golden Gate plans to close permanently on June 9th, 2024. And if it does, all that's left will be the memories of those who called it home.
Well, there's been a lot of good memories. One of the best, memories was me as a bug boy riding here and winning my first race. That was a pretty good memory. Everybody was cheering me on, and they do the whole first win bug boy wet, and they egged me. They threw baby powder on me. They showered me with I don't know what kinds of stuff. So. Yeah, it's probably one of my best memories here.
I can drive from the freeway and I can say, oh, I win a lot of races in that place, whatever they went to make it in here. It's really sad. It's a lot of great memory. I'm going to miss a lot of things. It's hard when you retire because this I've been doing for 38 years, and this is the only thing I can do, ride horses.
It's a good memories. When I first got here, my brother, he took me to school, adult school. He bought me a pencil and a book and said, let's go to school. So I feel proud of my brother just doing, that for me, and so that way I can learn a little bit of English, and that's something that I will remember forever. Come to this place, and not just that, but it's friendly work with all the people around here. They are pretty friendly, and I will miss them if I don't get to see them wherever I go.
Met quite a lot of nice people here. Some of my best friends I met here, and right now is the time where some of them are gonna leave, some of them are gonna stay. You might see these friends along the way. Sometimes they move with you or wherever you go, but there's some other friends that you might not get to see in a long time, and we just try to stay in touch as long as we can, and that's about it.
The only thing I can say, please, Melinda Estrona, please don't close the Golden Gate. This is a beautiful track. Give it a chance to continue to race it in here. It's really sad. But hopefully Melinda Estrona can work out with somebody else and keep it racing in Northern California.
Golden Gate. I wish we don't have to speak about closing this track, but I want to thank to everyone that make this possible through the years, and if, it's a nice place. I don't want it to close, but if it's closing, nothing else we can do about it.
Hope everything goes well. Hope something sets up, especially for the people, hardworking people, and we're hoping for the best for the next place.
Extra time was given to the 49ers, but it was not enough. They failed, and the Super Bowl was lost. Just like Northern California appears to be losing one of its most treasured and historic sports. And California racing as a whole begins to enter its final furlong.